K'Sante has finally been released, so we'll be breaking down his current power level, along with the new emerging trends and an update on the solo queue tier list. With the help of our challenger players, analyzing all sorts of data and tracking what pro players are doing in solo queue, we strive to bring you guys the inside scoop on the solo queue meta each and every patch. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. It's now been a few days since the K'Sante release, so how is the champion shaping out thus far? Initially, not great, but with any new champion, it's going to take a patch or two until they become fully optimized. So far, K'Sante is finding the most success with a full tank build. However, there is one item flying heavily under the radar. K'Sante's abilities scale off of armor and magic resist, which makes a Gargoyle Stone Plate purchase super good value. You get 120 resist in total from Stone Plate, 60 armor, and 60 magic resist, which is a greater amount of total resist than any other tank item. The stats don't lie either, as Stone Plate is winning the most as K'Sante's second purchase. The core build we would recommend trying this patch is a Sunfire or Frostfire rush into Stone Plate second and a situational tank item third. For the rune page, it's Grasp that seems to be the most optimal so far. Some players are running Conqueror, but it's consistently performing much worse than Grasp. If you're really trying to improve your rank for end of season, then we would definitely recommend you hold off on playing K'Sante until preseason, or just play him in normals. K'Sante is heavily underperforming so far, even for a new champion, and will be placed in our top lane C tier until further notice. Fiora has a brand new snowbally split push build that has started popping off over the last patch. Rush item is a Prowler's Claw. You grab Hullbreaker second and a Titanic Hydra third. With Prowler's Claw active and Fiora's mobility from Q, you can catch out and chase down targets extremely well. If you get ahead early, the enemy will not expect the range of your gap close, leading to you snowballing even further. Since Prowler's is more about that upfront burst instead of consistent DPS, running Press the Attack as the keystone is a really good idea. PTA is actually super underrated on Fiora because her Q provides a proc. Fiora E is an auto attack reset as well, so you can proc PTA extremely fast. You'll find Fiora in our S tier for top lane in 12.21. One of the most underrated top lane champs coming off recent buffs is Wukong. It's not just the buffs that have made Wukong so much stronger, but the fact his meta matchups are incredibly good. Wukong has really great success playing into Darius and Aatrox, so with them being the most played top laners, he fits in super well. Gap close from Wukong W allows him to dodge out on Darius and Aatrox Q damage, and on top of this, Wukong's armor stacking passive lets him thrive in these AD matchups. Wukong is an S tier top laner for 12.21, flying heavily under the radar. For the top lane tier list, we have Nasus, Mordekaiser, Shen, and Darius as the most optimal carries. Ornn was the one top laner who saw an adjustment this patch, but it doesn't actually affect his power level. Apparently Ornn's R was always slowing for more than what the tooltip suggested, so Riot just decided to update the tooltip instead of nerfing the slow. The best low elo top laners of the patch are Garen, Mordekaiser, and Nasus. Darius, Fiora, and Nasus are all really good ban options. Moving on to the jungle, the 12.21 Bel'Veth nerfs have not affected her to the extent we expected, so she will be pushed back into OP for mid-patch. We just released a video detailing this new strategy that our challenger jungle Skillshot has been abusing on his Bel'Veth, so be sure to check it out if you haven't already. Bel'Veth is an incredibly strong solo queue jungler right now, so take advantage of her power level while you can. One of the more undervalued junglers in 12.21 is Kindred. Kindred does really well into the likes of Hecarim, Viego, and Kayn, who are played a ton in solo queue. Kindred can also go toe-to-toe with Bel'Veth much better than most junglers due to her ability to dodge out of Bel'Veth's W. The hybrid build consisting of Wit's End and Black Cleaver is really nice too, as it provides Kindred with a little more durability and margin for error. Kindred locks down a spot in our S tier as one of the better solo queue junglers. For the complete jungle tier list, we have Udyr, Fiddlesticks, and Bel'Veth taking home the OP tier slots. Xin Zhao is slotted in exactly as we expected as a solid A-tier jungler after his buffs. If you like playing those junglers who can exert a lot of pressure throughout the early game, then Xin is a worthwhile pickup once again. Interesting new build for Maokai Jungle gaining traction that consists of a Demonic Embrace rush. More damage than rushing a tank mythic, so in games where you are ahead, grabbing an early Demonic Embrace can really help you extend a lead. Even though you're rushing Demonic, you still want to go into tank items from then on out, with Frostfire Gauntlet being the second pickup. Best low elo junglers of the patch are Rammus, Udyr, and Shyvana. Udyr, Hecarim, and Bel'Veth are on top of our jungle ban list. A champion we have not seen in the mid lane meta for a while, but has been making her way back in recent patches is Irelia. In 12.21, Irelia has a positive win rate into the 5 most commonly played mid laners, being Sylas, Akali, Syndra, Zed, and Victor. With Syndra coming back into meta and being played a ton, Irelia can feast in the matchup due to her high mobility and the luxury of being able to build Wit's End. It's super broken if you're playing Irelia mid and the enemy comp has magic damage in the jungle and mid lane. Fact that Elise, Echo, and Evelynn have all been buffed in recent patches and have seen a spike in play rate means it's now way more likely that this occurs. Say for example, enemy picks Elise jungle and they have a Syndra mid. You just rush Wit's End with Merc Treads and become a tank who has incredible consistent DPS. Irelia is placed in our mid lane A tier as a good pickup for 12.21. Another mid laner who flies under the radar but can thrive in the current meta is Galio. With Akali and Sylas seeing a ton of play at Worlds, their play rates have been on the rise, with Sylas picked in over 15% of games and Akali in over 10%. This makes Galio a really good counter pick in a lot of games, as his point-and-click taunt and magic shield make it very difficult for those dive champs to succeed. If you run Ghost with Flash as your summoner spell combination, you've got great roam power pre-14 minutes. Ever since Teleport was nerfed, you can't TP to minions before 14 minutes, Ghost has been seeing way more success on Galio for solo queue specifically. S tier is where you'll find Galio on the tier list for 12.21. For the mid lane tier list, we have one small adjustment for mid patch, as Victor and Syndra will be swapping spots. Zed and Vex join Syndra in the OP tier as the best solo queue mid laners. It's now been 2 full patches since Syndra's mini rework, and with her being fully optimized, she's an extremely powerful pick. Victor himself has not become any weaker, it's just that Syndra is now more deserving of the OP tier spot. Ahri buffs were the most impactful changes stat-wise this patch, as her win rate increased by about 3%. Very close to making her way back into S tier, but she's on the edge right now and will remain in our A tier for the time being. Corki and Mal's buffs did not really move the needle enough to warrant any movement on the tier list, so they have landed where we expected. Best low elo mid laners are Swain, Malzahar, and Heimerdinger. Syndra, Zed, and Vex are 3 of the best mid lane bans. With a plethora of ADCs nerfed in recent patches and Jinx being issued direct buffs, it's opened the door for her to become a top 5 ADC once again. Jinx loves a meta where Blitz and Thresh are 2 of the more prominent supports, and that's what we're seeing right now as well. Jinx is placed in our S tier for 12.21, but don't be surprised if she jumps into OP in the coming patches with any other ADC changes. ADC meta did not see any significant shifts this patch, as Twitch, Misfortune, Kai'Sa, and Tristana are the OP picks. If you guys haven't tried out the on-hit Kai'Sa build yet, then definitely give it a go if you play the champ. Lots of pros have been spamming the build in solo queue, and it offers a really deadly 2-item spike. On Kraken and Blade of the Ruined King completion, you have incredible DPS potential, along with some added sustain and mobility from Blade that PD and the Collector lack. Optimal low elo bot lane carries include Tristana, Misfortune, and Ziggs. MF Kai'Sa and Samira are the highest priority bot lane bans. The Blitz nerfs once again were more of a slap on the wrist than a killing blow, as he continues to dominate as an OP support. One trend we're noticing by following pro players in solo queue is that even Shroud or Shurelya's are being prioritized way more than Locket as the rush item. The average solo queue Blitz player is rushing Locket, but it actually performs much worse than Shurelya's or even Shroud stat-wise. Blitz is at his best when he's playing aggro, finding those catch plays with Hook, so Locket just doesn't fit the theme very well. Even Shroud and Shurelya's help to enable Blitz's pick power, so if you're someone who's exclusively being Locket on Blitz, look to swap it out. For the support tier list, we have Amumu, Janna, Blitzcrank, and Maokai locking down OP tier slots. A massive flaw in itemization has been plaguing the support role in recent patches, more specifically for enchanters. Way back in 12.10, Chemtech Putrefier had its Grievous Wounds strength reduced from 40 to 25%. Ever since then, Putrefier has been one of the worst performing second items on enchanters, yet it's still being purchased the most. Ardent Sensor is the better pickup in the majority of games. The only time Putrefier is really worth it is when there's multiple heals on the enemy team. Of course, this is a judgment call with each game, but at the very least, stop autopilot building Putrefier if the enemy comp has 0 healing at all. Best low elo supports of the patch are Amumu, Maokai, and Zyra. Top 3 support ban recommendations include Janna, Amumu, and Blitzcrank. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into Elo Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. Yet another short and quick update on the solo queue tier list as the meta shifts very minimally heading into the close of Season 12. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck with your end of season climbs, and we will see you in the next one.